Hello, my name is Stacy Heinitz, and I'm going to be giving an informational presentation over managing a deer population, how to keep them around, and how to rattle bucks in. First, we're going to start with the management process, and that is, it's going to first start with the carrying capacity of your hunting area. So, if you have a lot of deer on your property, say you see 20 to 30 deer a day, you're seeing different deer every single day, you have a lot of deer on your property. So then you take into account how many acres is your hunting property. If you have a smaller ranch, say 200 to 300 acres, and you're seeing 30 and 40 deer a day, all different deer, that is a large amount of deer on one specific small property. So you want to look to see if your property has enough forage for your animals to survive, say enough grass, enough small wooded trees that they would graze on or browse on, and then also you want to make sure that your deer have water. So in this, we're going to go into the buck to doe ratio. On that, you want to have at least one buck for every 2 to 3 does. Okay, so if you're seeing 30 does a day and 10 bucks a day, that's a 1 to 3 ratio. That's a decent ratio. But if you're only seeing 2 or 3 bucks a day and you're seeing 35 does, then you have a ratio that is way low on the buck end and too high on the doe end. Through this, your bucks can't handle that. They can't breed 25, 30 does every year. They'll breed 10 to 15 does a year, so you want to keep your ratio more towards more bucks with a 1 to 3 ratio. Then we're going to go into the culling out of the old animals so you can have good genetics on your property. So through this, we're going to cull out the old animals. This is bucks and does. The easiest way to tell that it's an old doe is how long the head is. If it has a short head, it's a younger doe, smaller body. If the doe it has a large body, a long nose, long head, that's typically an older doe. So we're going to want to cull out all of the older animals. So old does and then old bucks. Old bucks, they get real gray on their face, around their eyes. They have a big chest, a big belly on them, big round belly. You're going to want to cull out all of the old animals. They're on the decline. Their horns, or they're declining on the horns. They're not going to grow up any bigger. Their horns are just going to slowly dwindle down to where they're just little bitty 8-pointers, and they don't even look like a mature deer anymore that you would want to kill because they're so old. So then also you're going to want to cull out any sickly animals that are losing weight. You can see their rib cage. Maybe they got hung in a fence and tore their hip, tore something in their leg, maybe broke a leg, maybe got attacked by a predator such as a coyote, maybe got bit by a coyote, has rabies, anything around that sort. You're going to want to cull out that animal also. And also you're going to want to cull out the injured animals, which is the same, just anything that's not moving too well, broken leg, broken foot, anything of that sort. Now we're going to move on to how to keep deer around. The best way to keep deer around, if you can, is deer feeders. You'll set up a deer feeder, fill it full of corn, have it go off twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. Let it spin out some corn. If you have the ability to create a food plot, such as oats, wheat, anything of that sort, that the deer really like that, and they will come in and they will browse on that during the day. That will pull deer all over to come get that fresh oats and everything like that in the wintertime. Also, corning the roads, just driving throughout your hunting area, your ranch, have a bag of corn out the window, corning down the roads, let it sit, they'll come find it, and that attracts a bunch of deer. Now we're going to move on to the brush management of keeping deer around. You want to have brush so they feel safe. They have to have some place to get bedded down, to have cover, shelter, things of that nature, so they can, if a predator's after them, they can run, they can get in the brush, they can hide. It makes them feel safe. Also, how to keep them around is low pressure, meaning don't be driving your four-wheeler around your place at 50 miles an hour every day and shooting guns off every day, sighting in guns, everything like that. If you have a large ranch, try to keep that on one side of the ranch and have the other side no pressure, so the deer feel safe also in that sense. Now we're going to go into how to rattle deer in. I've been guiding hunts on rattling for about 5 years now. I've had some pretty good luck with it. It's a lot of fun. It's an adrenaline rush, and if you ever see it done, you'll be hooked for the rest of your life. So first we're going to say when to do it. In Central Texas, the rut, which is where the bucks are chasing does, trying to breed does, is normally the second weekend of November, and then by the third weekend of November, right around Thanksgiving area, they're going to be in full rut, meaning every buck is on their feet constantly all day looking for does to chase and try to breed. Now, where to go? When you want to go rattling, you want to look for a brushy area that has an opening somewhere. Say you want to sit in the brush behind the opening that's going to be in front of you. So you will sit down, preferably underneath a tree that has a little bit of cover in front of you, so it's a little harder to see you. So then, once you get down, sitting on the ground, these are my rattling horns. These are probably 20 years old, 30 years old. You don't have to have a brand new set, but you just don't want them to be sun bleached and everything like that. So first, what you want to do is you want to sit down, give it 10-15 minutes of letting it cool down from you walking through the brush trying to get to your spot. Then once you start, you want to make a fight out of these two horns. Make it sound like two bucks are fighting over a doe. So you're going to want to start off real slow. It's not going to be a big fight at first. And this is what it'd sound like. Okay, nice and easy. I'll do 5 sets. So one set will be a nice and easy, just like what I just did. Do that for about 2-3 minutes. If nothing comes, let it rest. Give it 5-10 minutes before you start rattling again. The second time you will get more intense. It'll be just a little bit bigger than a small fight. Do that for 2 to 3 minutes. If nothing comes within that 2 to 3 minutes, set your horns down, let it rest again for about 5 minutes. So then you'll start and you'll rattle some more. And this will be a bigger fight, such as right here. And you'll want to do that for 2 to 3 minutes. Now, if nothing comes out of this, you're going to want to keep the deer's attention. So this time you're going to let it rest for only 2 to 3 minutes. You're going to go 2 to 3 minutes on and then 2 to 3 minutes off, and then you're going to start rattling again. Now, you're going to want to keep getting this fight bigger and bigger and bigger throughout these sets that you're going. So that was set 3. So now we're going to go to set 4, which is a little bit bigger. So you're going to want to go to rattling, and then in the middle you can stop. While you're rattling, stop, brush the ground around, just throwing the ground around, hitting on a tree maybe, anything like that to make it sound like the fight is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and one deer is pushing the other on the ground, and there's dirt flying, everything's going crazy. And then if nothing comes within the fourth set, you can bet that the fifth set, something is probably in the area coming from a long distance, and they're just now getting there. So you'll want to start this one 2 to 3 minutes right after you finish your fourth set, and it's going to be another big fight. And this is where you're going to let it all hang out, hit them as hard as you can, hit the ground as hard as you can. You can stomp your foot on the ground, make it sound like these deer are really getting after it. So the fifth set is going to be just everything you have in your hands, and try not to hit your hands on these horns, because if you do, it will hurt very bad. And anyways, normally they will come in. If they don't, then after the fifth set, it's over with. Sit there, give it 20-30 minutes of just sitting underneath your tree, looking around, seeing if anything's just now making it to the area that they had to travel a long distance, and it took a long time for them to get there. So normally your rattling is going to be about 30 to 45 minutes long. Normally you want to do that in the mornings, right as the sun comes up, about 7:15, 7:30 in the morning, and then you can do it in the evenings, right as the sun's going down. So start rattling about 4:45, and it'll take about an hour to get your rattling in. So it'll be right as the sun's going down. So anyways, I hope that this video will help you in your if you're trying to manage a population, how to keep deer around and how to rattle them in. Thank you very much.